There we are. Good morning. Hey there, friends. How are we all doing today? It is 5:15, give or take, a.m., and we're about to get started. Thursday morning. I slept pretty well, slept long, slept through the night, so I'm feeling pretty good. And looking forward to what this day has to offer, and I hope you are as well. What are we going to do today? We're going to do some mobility, then we're going to work on just some light kettlebelling, some floor presses, and full body cycle. Not too heavy weights, predominantly conditioning. And that's going to be it for today. For those of you just dropping by, my name is Toby. Hi, and I'm 40 years old. I train to live an adventurous, self-sufficient, and active life. And as I've understood it, I might live to be 100, and I would like this last 10 years to be as good as the next 10 years. In other words, I would like to be healthy and active and strong and fit throughout life, because I've understood that that might make all the difference later on, barring anything tragic happening to me in the next 60 years. So that being said, how I do that is I try to sleep well, between 7 and 9 hours a night, usually just short of 8 hours. And I know who's here. Good morning, Evalis. It's good to see you, buddy. And I hope you're doing all right today. I hope you're well where you're at. And thanks for dropping by and saying hi and good morning. And I hope work is treating you well today. I mind how much I sleep. Usually just short of 8 hours, so anywhere between 7 and 9. It's good. I have a bit of a hard time sleeping more than 8 hours, actually. Just very occasionally if I'm really tired. I mind what I eat, and as we said earlier this week, today and tomorrow, I am on a mission to go to the office and to not snack on the candies they have there. But it's not because I have anything against candies, just because I've developed a bad habit of eating a lot of candy while I'm in the office, and that opposes my health goals. Candy once in a while should be fine. But how do I mind what I eat? Well, I mind what I eat by eating home-cooked dinners, minding the fact that I take in about 150 grams of protein in a day, generally eating at least 2 salads or servings of vegetables in the day, lunch and dinner, and trying to have as healthy in-betweens as I can, so avoiding super processed, high-calorie snacks throughout the day, and I think I do pretty all right. And generally my beverages are only tea or coffee or water, but occasionally I have something else. So anyway, sleep, nutrition, working out, strength, building that muscle mass, building that strength, building that ability to use my body, conditioning, running, but also with the kettlebells, working on conditioning and mobility, being able to maintain my full range of motion, and understanding where there are impediments and working on those. So all of that taken together, that's what I'm working on when it comes to my longevity, and that's what this channel is about at this point in time in the morning at 5:15 a.m. when I'm doing my morning routine. So that's something you're interested in, go ahead and subscribe. I always say this is about the way I feel, not about the way I look. I don't have any aesthetic goals. I do mind the way I look, specifically the circumference of my waist in terms of how healthy I am. I've learned or understood that a large gut might not be a sign of good health, but that is about as far as I take that. So there's no goal to have a six-pack, there's no goal to have huge shoulders, there's just a goal to be fit and strong for whatever life has to throw at me. And on this journey, I know many people are on different journeys, right? Different stages of life. Maybe we're trying to lose weight. I've been there. Maybe we're trying to build muscle, I've been there. Maybe we're training for a specific sport, I've been there. But for all of these different kinds of goals, I think it's good to remind ourselves that we're good just the way we are, and we've got to love ourselves before we can move on. So the reason for that is that it is the person who we are today who's going to get us to where we want to be tomorrow. And I always like to remind myself of that every day in the morning, but I also like to just remind everyone who might be listening of that first thing the day starts or as the day ends. Because tomorrow, the person you are is going to get you to where you need to be. And a bit of kindness goes a long way. And the only way to get anything done, and I know my friend YouTube Punk, and hey, Corelia, welcome back. I saw you subscribed yesterday. Thanks for dropping by again. I appreciate that. And good morning. And good morning, YouTube Punk. I hope Texas is doing all right. And I hope that you are well. Um, um, the only way to get anything done is by showing up and doing the work. So I'm going to start off with some mobility, and then we're going to move on with the kettlebells. And I hope you're all doing well where you're at in the world. There we go. The timer is on. Well, I'm happy to hear that, and I hope your routine will serve you well. Here we are. It is 5:15 where I'm at Thursday morning. I think this is day 293. And we're just going to keep working on our general health and fitness for longevity. We're going to breathe. I'm going to breathe in, really just expanding the stomach cavity, and out. And in, letting the diaphragm push everything down. I'm going to do the neck, nice and upright. Look surprised. And forward. And look surprised. And forward. And look surprised. 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 Very good. And we're going to do the hitchhiker, where we turn ourselves into a W and just hitchhike our way to better mobility. And as always, these kinds of things, just make sure that we're moving well, feeling all right, checking in with our body overall, and just going through the daily routine that helps us feel good and ready to move for the rest of the day, whatever that is for you. And this is, for me, these are some of the movements that just help me feel better, move better, stand better. All right. work on that hip mobility by rocking back and forth. Just mind that your heels don't cave in. Sometimes people put a box between their feet. And just moving. As we give all of our joints, muscles, some time and space to move, feel good about what they're capable of doing. And as always, if anything hurts, you just stop and do something else. There's no point in risking an injury. And if something hurts persistently every time you try it over a couple of days, it's always worth having it checked out by a professional who knows what they're doing and who can help you with good advice. I'm going to come and read your messages in a moment, friends. Yeah. Ah, hey, Valis, thanks a lot. I appreciate that. And Mr. C7, thank you for dropping by and saying hello. I think it's the first time I'm seeing you on this channel. And I appreciate the compliment. Thank you so much. And I hope you're doing well where you are today. And that goes for all of you. That you're having a good start of the day. Alright, just going to roll into this and out of this pose a couple of times. Really get that upper part of the spine moving, checking in also on the mobility by shoulders. And then when that's done, to add a new one, which is the same pose with the thumbs up, and then slowly twisting and thumbs out. Maybe you can or cannot see, but my left, the mobility on the left is very different from the mobility on the right with that move. And over time, hopefully, that will change. Roll those shoulders. Because everything, if we do a little bit every day, changes a little bit. It's just the way of the universe, and the way the world works. And this goes both ways, better or worse. To do cat and cow. I'm going to do this 2 times 30 seconds. I always feel I never quite get enough out of this one. If I only do it for 1 set of 30. And by the way, do you know that feeling where you feel slightly under the weather? You're not ill, but you've probably caught a bug. That's what I've been feeling for the last 2 or 3 days. It's also important to acknowledge, right, that not every day we wake up feeling like $1,000,000. And that should be completely fine also. But we should be mindful of that and be honest with ourselves. Hey, today I feel in the middle. Today I feel great. Today, not such a good day. As long as overall you've got most of the days in a week, in a month, in a year to look forward to that we feel good, I think we're in a good space. So just keep that in mind also, friends. We're allowed to have off days once in a while, okay? And we're allowed to talk about that. I think, especially men, I don't know what it is like for women. I'm not a woman. But men should be allowed to talk about that with each other as well. Armando Baya, thank you for dropping by and saying hello. And let's all be respectful of each other and keep the chat nice and clean. Future Punk Evanis, it's always nice to have you here along for the ride. And Armando, I hope you're doing well where you are in the world, that you're having a good day. Yeah, so it's Thursday morning. But like I was saying, for us to, it sounds like it's really raining outside, by the way. For us to, just be able to say what's really going on to another good friend. I think as men, we sometimes keep things inside a bit too much, a bit too long. We don't have to go all soft and squishy. Spend hours talking about our feelings. But the other spectrum of never mentioning it at all, the other end of the spectrum of never mentioning it at all, also not ideal, right? Somewhere a bit towards the middle, where you can just say, hey, I'm feeling alright, or hey, oh, so good today, or hey, this is bothering me, it's frustrating me, irritating me to no end. Because sometimes, by saying things out loud, first of all, we realize maybe it's complete nonsense, but second of all, we might come to realize that there are fairly simple, straightforward solutions to whatever it is that is on our mind. Yeah? And by the way, hard things sometimes are very brittle. Strong things are very pliant. So if you want to be a strong man, maybe sometimes worth reconsidering whether you're being hard on yourself and therefore making yourself easy to break because you become brittle, or whether you're being strong and getting stronger, meaning that you're able to move and bend with the demands and strains that are put on you, like your muscles and your body. So there are a lot of parallels between fitness and life. And this is one of them. Oh, what a morning. Yeah, that was quite the shower, I think, outside just now. And YouTube Punk, I appreciate you sticking up for me in the chat. Um, I really do appreciate that. And El Canal de Pau, hello, good morning. Thank you for dropping by and for the heart and for the support. Appreciate that. I hope you're doing well where you're at in the world. 2 more mobility exercises. I hope you're doing well where you're at in the world, that you're having a good Thursday. I usually just tend to ignore the comments or misunderstand what people are saying on purpose. Like when you're swinging kettlebells, sometimes people ask, doesn't that hurt your balls? And I usually say, well, no, they can't because they're 8 kilo of steel. You know, because I really don't understand what they're asking, obviously. And usually, sometimes people turn around and think it's funny, and sometimes people just disappear from the chat altogether when that happens. Either is fine with me. I wish everyone well on the journey that they're on and we're at in life. All right. Now, time to just turn off the timer. It's 5:41. We still have quite a bit of work to do. So we're going on to an every minute on the minute. And we're going to continue with the kettlebell. I'm one of those who enjoy troll comments. Oh, the punches. Content creator. More classy. See, different strategies for different situations. In the end, I'm just happy you're all here, saying hi and hanging out. And it's nice to be able to chat with all of you in the morning as we're doing the workout. All right. just really trying to get those sets in this morning. It's always the squats that leave me slightly breathless. All right, ready? Oh boy. You still good? Yeah. Ah. Hey, Minaj. Thanks for, thanks for dropping by and saying hi. I appreciate that. I might, but like I said at the beginning, this is not as much about the way I look and more about the way I feel. But I understand what you mean. Broad shoulders are impressive. I think generally people who are able to build an impressive physique worth admiring. You know what I really appreciate about the people who come to the chat for a little conversation is that everyone generally working on their own health and fitness and just interested in what they are doing and looking around, asking questions, figuring stuff out. You know, in my 20s, maybe you had the message boards if you knew what to look for. But there wasn't a lot around to give you good advice on what you could and couldn't do. We're now doing kettlebell style swing, by the way. Kettlebell sports style. right, to just fill out the minute. But we're moving on to a clean and press. Just gonna put a bit of tape around my wrist to make sure that I don't damage myself too bad. Because for some reason, these kettlebells came with a sandpapered coating. And I always forget to put something on my wrist. But this will allow me to any other motivation these days. That is a good point. I agree. There are a lot of people out there who are just saying something, which is why I also generally try to shy away from making information videos and giving advice. Korea. Hey, you started kettlebell 2 months ago. Good for you. I hope it's been a worthwhile journey. You should check out KB Fit. KB Brit Fit. I think YouTube Punk and I both watch her. She has some really good content also for women, because she is a woman. And she's a world champion kettlebell swinger, kettlebell competition champion. But I agree. That was also one of the reasons, Korea, why I went to do and I hope I'm pronouncing your name all right, why I went to do a training in a course in personal training to become a certified personal trainer for myself, so that I understand better what information is good and worthwhile and what isn't online. 2 months ago is nice, right? It's always nice when people start picking up the kettlebell. YouTube Punk and I are big fans of some of the same people online. What do you recommend to use if you don't have a kettlebell? I use a gallon water jug. That's good recommendations from YouTube Punk. Something with a handle. YouTube Punk and I think Poor Man's Gym, who drops by once in a while, also build their own things. I think with water it's always a bit risky, because unless it's a completely full jug, maybe the water will move. But also the handle is a bit off, but yeah. Maybe there's some second-hand stuff somewhere that you can procure cheap and easy. But I know Poor Man's Gym uses a handle anchors it in concrete and built his own things to work out with. So I started off lifting a 5-liter water jug as well, but I didn't swing it around like a kettlebell. So I wouldn't know what makes a good replacement. But it's an interesting question, Ghost Phantom. And thanks for dropping by and for being interested. I hope you're doing well where you are and where you are on your journey. Now we've done singles. Now we're going to do a couple of doubles. With the handle, use a ball. Use the shape. There you go. See, we're all very creative. When it comes to working out, I like it. I think there's also some joy. I think it's something we miss. Well, maybe you can tell me what you think if you're watching. The act of making things for ourselves, of having and exerting control over our direct living space and utensils, rather than always just going out to buy things. Three. 4. 5. 6. see, thoughtful gifts for others and also for ourselves. I also think that there's something to be said about doing a bit more of those kinds of things in life. But worth thinking about. You know, because the more control we have over our living space, I really need to mind my technique with that one. But as far as full body and intensity goes, I don't think it gets much better. Thanks, Savalis. Yes, we need to keep challenging ourselves. And by the way, it's a question I have for those of you who are subscribed. So, have you seen any of my long forms, follow-alongs, the two-handed full kettlebell? And if you have, what do you think, just in general, of those videos? Because I started 10 minutes, 12 minutes, 14, 16, 18, 20, and then increasing the work capacity into 20. But I'm just so curious what people think and if they're actually useful. Last one. And then we're going to do a little bit more of conditioning with the 8 before we're done. Three. 4. 5. It's 6:04, friends. We've been at it for a while. So we're going to end with my favorite deadlift, row, clean, press, squat. So light. Because at 6, it is time to get on with the day. And we should all be mindful of that. 5, hand-to-hand swings. And I'm going to show you the one-handed variation. So, you know the two-handed variation of that complex. I'll show you how I do it with one hand as well. Mini bells. Yeah. Those are my originals, the ones that everything started with. Alright, so what does that look like? With one hand, it's a row. It's a deadlift, it's a clean, it's a press, it's a squat, it's a row, it's a row, it's a clean, it's a press, it's a squat. See, I believe that starting out with both hands is becoming familiar with the mechanics specifically of the hinge are very important if you are new to kettlebelling. If you master the deadlift, you basically master all of kettlebelling. Now we swap hands, deadlift, clean. And you'll find with kettlebelling unilaterally that every side has its own strengths and weaknesses, and you probably have one dominant hand and one hand that you don't, that needs more work. Lost one. And that's the nice thing about kettlebelling, is you get to figure that out for both sides of the spectrum. That's it, friends. 43 minutes. More than enough this morning. Thanks for dropping by. All of you, thanks for being so active on the chat. I appreciate that. I appreciate the conversation. Korea, since you started with kettlebells, I think YouTube Punk's recommendations of channels are super. Mark Wildman's there as well. It's who got me started with everything. And what I just said about the deadlift and the hip hinge specifically, is being able to do this movement properly and building the strength in your legs and your core, not your arms, but your legs, glutes, hamstrings, quads, to actually execute that with heavier and heavier weights. So for women, 6, 8, 10, 12, up to 16 usually, but I've seen women swing 24 kilos no problem after lots of training. I think it's going to be key. I have a tutorial on it, but I know all of those channels also have good explanations on how to make that work for you, and also the difference between hardstyle and kettlebell sports style. So, have fun exploring and keep dropping by and letting me know how your journey is going. Evalis, I hope you're doing well at work. I hope it's a good day for you. I hope you get home safe later at the end of the day, because getting home to the ones we love is important. YouTube Punk, I hope Texas is not too hot tonight. I hope to someday return. I might fly out to Mountain View, so over Texas next year for work. And boy, I would love to visit again at some point. Everyone else, Ghost Phantom, thanks for the question. I hope you figured out with the tool you want to use, and preferably, obviously, I hope you find a good pair of kettlebells. You only need one weight, 12, 16, 20, might be enough to start doing the work. But I'm sure you'll find out. Drop by again and let me know. Minhaj, thanks for the tip, and I appreciate that. And let's see if my shoulders grow with what I'm doing, so keep dropping by and come back. And everyone else, El Canal de Pau, thank you for dropping by. Don't know what that means, but is it the channel of Pau? Maybe. And to everyone else, Mr. C7, thank you for the compliment, and I hope you're all going to have a great day. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, I don't trust them either. That's why I have 3 different pairs, but this one seems to have stuck around this week. But tomorrow I will be wearing green shorts, so maybe that's better. And thanks for dropping by and making me smile this morning. Friends, like I always say, this is about how I feel, not about how I look. I train for specifically this moment in the day. When the kids wake up, I'm going to go grab him and go play with him. I hear his mom's with him, so I can finish up with you. We're good just the way we are. We've got to love ourselves before we can move on. And the only way to get anything done, friends, by showing up and doing the work. Now it's time for me to go be a dad. Have a good day. Take care.